Good morning, New York. Good morning to every man and woman pouring their first cup of coffee this Friday, the 6th of May, 1960. You are tuned to WKNY, 1240 on your AM dial. I'm Frank Calloway, and this is the Morning Pulse. I am going to get right to it this morning, because there is a story developing that I believe is going to turn out to be one of the most consequential things to happen in this Cold War. And possibly the most embarrassing thing to happen to this administration in 7 years. We are going to spend some time with it. It deserves that time. But first, the theme, because this is where we always start. And then we go to work. Let's start with what happened 5 days ago, on Sunday, May the 1st, May Day of all the symbolic dates, and what is still unraveling this morning. On May the 1st, an American aircraft disappeared while conducting what the United States government initially described as a weather research and observation mission. The plane was a U-2. A high-altitude jet aircraft operated under the auspices of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA. Unarmed. Civilian-piloted. According to the official account, it was monitoring atmospheric conditions near the Turkish-Soviet border. Lost contact, possibly due to the pilot suffering oxygen difficulties, and may have drifted into Soviet airspace on autopilot. That was the cover story. Now, 4 days later, the cover story has a serious problem. On May the 5th, Nikita Khrushchev stood before the Supreme Soviet in Moscow and delivered a speech. He announced that a United States spy plane had been shot down on May the 1st, deep inside Soviet territory, not near the border, not drifting, 1,200 miles inside the Soviet Union, near the city of Sverdlovsk in the Ural Mountains. He called it an aggressive act and a deliberate provocation. He said it was aimed at wrecking the summit conference, scheduled for May the 16th in Paris, a conference that was supposed to bring together Eisenhower, Khrushchev, Prime Minister Macmillan of Britain, and President de Gaulle of France, to discuss the most urgent matters in the world. Berlin, nuclear arms, the future of this Cold War. This morning, Washington is in an uncomfortable position. The State Department is asking Moscow for details through our embassy. The official line remains that the plane was an unarmed civilian research aircraft, that there was, quote, no authorization for any flight such as described by Mr. Khrushchev. The administration is sticking to the weather plane story. But here's the thing. The U-2 is not a weather plane. This much is not a secret in this newsroom. And I suspect it is not a secret to anyone in Washington who has paid attention for the last several years. The U-2 is a Lockheed aircraft designed to fly at altitudes of approximately 70,000 feet, almost 14 miles high, which puts it above the range of virtually every Soviet interceptor and anti-aircraft weapon in existence. Or so the CIA assured the president. It carries state-of-the-art photographic equipment. The CIA has been using these aircraft to photograph Soviet military installations, missile sites, airfields, nuclear facilities. Since 1956, Khrushchev is bitter this morning. He called the incident an attempt to wreck the Paris summit. And whether or not that was the intent, that may well be the result. The summit is 10 days away. A lot can happen in 10 days. Now, here is what we do not yet know. We do not know what happened to the pilot. The administration has not confirmed whether anyone survived. We do not know how much of the aircraft the Soviets recovered. And that matters enormously, because if they have the camera equipment and the film, there is no story the administration can tell that will hold. We do not know whether Khrushchev is going to use this to blow up the summit, or whether he's keeping that option open. And frankly, we do not know how much of this the president himself authorized, and how much was the CIA acting on its own initiative. The Senate is beginning to ask questions. Mike Mansfield, the Senate Majority Whip, has already suggested publicly that if the president had no knowledge of the flight, then we have to ask whether this administration controls its own bureaucracy. That is a pointed question. Watch for it. I want to be clear about one thing. The Soviets spy on us. We know it. They have agents in this country. We have agents in theirs. Intelligence gathering is as old as statecraft, and every nation on Earth practices it. The question is not whether we spy. The question is, at what moment, on the eve of the most important summit in years, an attempt to dial back the arms race and perhaps begin to breathe a little easier in this world. Someone decided to authorize a flight 1,200 miles into Soviet territory. And what happens now? Well, Ray Charlton is about to make every single person in this room feel something they didn't know they were carrying.
Carolina, 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 on my soul, every road I travel takes me back to you. Carolina, on my soul, like an old familiar song I never knew. Other places call my name, other faces smile at me along the way. But Carolina stays the same. In my heart, she never once has gone away. Carolina, Carolina, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Carolina on my mind. No light through the pines, the smell of river mud and honeysuckle vine. These old memories of mine, Lord, they hit me like a bottle of cheap red wine. Nowhere else on God's green earth could ever hold Carolina, what it's worth. You're the only home my restless soul will ever see. Carolina, Carolina on my soul. Carolina.
Welcome back. More on the U-2 situation and what it means for the world. 10 days from now, Eisenhower and Khrushchev were supposed to sit down together in Paris for the first four-power summit in 5 years. The last time the leaders of the United States, Soviet Union, Britain, and France met was in Geneva in 1955, Ike's first term. That meeting produced what people called the Spirit of Geneva. Then things cooled off again. What made this Paris summit feel different was what happened at Camp David last September. Khrushchev visited the United States, toured the country, visited Eisenhower's farm in Gettysburg, sat on the porch, and talked. The two men, by all accounts, found in each other something they hadn't expected: a human being. Khrushchev went home calling Eisenhower "my friend." People began talking about the spirit of Camp David. There was, for a brief period, genuine hope that the Cold War might modulate into something less terrifying. The agenda for Paris was serious: the future of divided Germany, the status of Berlin, which has been a flashpoint for years, with the Soviets periodically threatening to hand over control of Western access routes to East Germany, and the possibility of a nuclear test ban treaty. These are not small things. These are the questions that, if not answered, leave the world living under the perpetual shadow of mutual annihilation. And now Khrushchev is standing at a podium, calling this plain incident a provocation aimed at wrecking the summit. He has not yet pulled out of the conference, but he is furious, and he is making sure the world knows it. His position domestically requires him to respond forcefully. He faces critics within the Soviet system who think his policy of peaceful coexistence with the West is naive, that the Americans cannot be trusted. This incident hands those critics an argument. The administration's new Soviet rocket command is also worth noting this morning. Moscow has announced the formation of a dedicated rocket command, with an artillery expert named as its chief. This is not unrelated. The Soviets are building up their strategic missile forces, even as they negotiate. So are we. The question of whether two nations can talk their way out of an arms race they are simultaneously accelerating is the central question of this decade. What will Eisenhower say? The president leaves for Paris in 10 days. Right now, his administration is hoping the cover story holds. I do not think it will hold. And when it doesn't, the question becomes, does Ike admit it? Does he apologize? Does he blame the CIA? These are not comfortable choices for a man who has spent his career as a soldier and considers honesty a cardinal virtue. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a swinging new number that's taking the airwaves by storm. A sharp tale from those cool cats, the Razor Kings.
Oh, the tiger babe has such claws, dear, and he shows them shiny bright. Just the switchblade has old Jack Dean, baby, and he keeps it hid from sight. You know when that tiger strikes with his claws, babe, crimson rivers start to spread. Fancy suits though wears old Jack Dean, babe, so there's never, never a drop of red. Now on the corner, sunny morning, lies a body using life decay. And someone sneaking round the corner, could that someone be Jack Dean? Now Jenny Diver, oh Silky Tawdry, look out Miss Lottie Lenya and old Lucy Brown. Yes, that line forms on the right, dear, now that Mackie's back in town. A sharp eye on the scene. But when that blade starts flashing, babe, you know exactly what I mean. Oh, the tiger, babe, has such claws, dear, and he shows them shiny bright. Just the switchblade has old Jack Dean, babe, and he's back in town tonight.
A few other stories from Washington this morning before we turn to the primaries. The House of Representatives has voted $39 billion for the defense budget, with emphasis on missile programs. In the wake of Sputnik, in the wake of every Soviet rocket announcement, the Congress reaches reflexively for more money for arms. It is the logic of deterrence. We build up, they build up. And somehow the accumulation of weapons is supposed to keep the peace. Some days that logic seems unassailable. Other days, like today, with a spy plane down and a summit in jeopardy, it seems like a road we don't know how to get off. The American Medical Association is taking sharp aim at President Eisenhower's proposal for health care for the elderly. The AMA says the plan, which would use Social Security as a vehicle to provide hospital insurance for Americans over 65, amounts to government takeover of medicine. The doctors are calling it socialized medicine. The administration calls it a practical response to the fact that millions of older Americans cannot afford the medical care they need. This debate is not going away. If anything, the election this fall will sharpen it considerably. And now, Roy Darkson is back to remind you that nobody, and I mean nobody, does heartbreak quite like this man.
Dum 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 ooh yeah. Only the broken ones know how it feels. Only the broken ones know what love steals. Only the broken ones cry through the night. Only the broken ones know I'm not all right. There goes my baby. There goes my heart, walking away now, tearing me apart. Only the broken ones, only the broken ones know how I feel. Only the broken ones, hearts that are open, bleeding for something that never was real. Standing alone now beneath the cold sky,
Too proud to beg her, too broken to cry. Shadows around me like ghosts of the past. Nothing that's beautiful ever will last. There goes my baby, there goes my world. Nothing behind me but memories swirl. Only the broken ones, only the broken, only the broken ones know how I feel. Only the broken ones, hearts that are open, bleeding for something that never was real. I know someday, maybe someday, she'll come walking back through that door. But the broken ones always know that beautiful things come no way. Only the broken one. Only the broken. Only the broken ones know.
Now, to the Democratic race for the presidency, and specifically to the state of West Virginia, where something important is about to happen. Senator John F. Kennedy of Massachusetts and Senator Hubert Humphrey of Minnesota face each other in the West Virginia Democratic primary on May the 10th, 4 days from now. And this race has become about something larger than just delegates. Here is the background. Kennedy won the Wisconsin primary last month, but he won it in a way that left questions. His margin came heavily from Catholic districts. Wisconsin has a sizable Catholic population. Party bosses looked at those numbers and said, fine, but can he win Protestants? Can a Catholic be elected President of the United States? Nobody has done it. The ghost of Al Smith, who ran in 1928 and was defeated in part by ugly anti-Catholic bigotry, haunts every discussion of Kennedy's candidacy. West Virginia is 95% Protestant. It is also poor, coal country, miners out of work, a state that has known hard times and knows them again. Kennedy had a 70-30 lead in West Virginia polls back in December. Then the Wisconsin results came in. People realized he was Catholic, and the lead evaporated. He trailed Humphrey by 20 points in April. The Kennedy campaign has responded with everything it has. The family has poured resources into West Virginia on a scale Humphrey simply cannot match. Hubert Humphrey is traveling the state on a rented bus. Kennedy has the family plane. Bobby Kennedy and Ted Kennedy are all over the state. Franklin Roosevelt Jr. is campaigning for Kennedy and invoking FDR's name in a state that worships FDR. A new poll out this morning shows Kennedy gaining. Whether that's enough, we'll know Tuesday. But the smart money in this city says if Kennedy wins West Virginia, Protestant West Virginia, he effectively answers the religious question once and for all. Humphrey's path to the nomination becomes very narrow, and Kennedy at 42 begins to look like the next President of the United States. Worth watching, people. Worth watching very closely. And now, a beautiful brand new ballad that's winning hearts all across America from the Wanderers.
You can sway every sway with the boy who catches your eye. Let him hold you close. You can laugh every laugh for the man who walked you home 'neath the soft moonlight. But don't forget who's bringing you back and in whose arms you really should be. So baby, save the last dance for me. I know that the music is sweet, like sparkling wine. Go have your fun, dance and smile, but while we're apart, don't give your heart to anyone. But don't forget who's bringing you back and in whose arms you really should be. So baby, save the last dance for me. Darling, you know that I love you so. Can't help but feel the way I do. But I know that if you love me too, there's just one thing I ask of you. Don't forget who's bringing you back and in whose arms you really should be. So baby, save the last dance for me.
Closer to home now, your New York Digest for this Friday morning. The city honored a 92-year-old man yesterday as a pioneer in public housing, a remarkable New Yorker who spent decades advocating for decent, affordable homes in this city. There is something clarifying about the ceremony honoring a man of 92 who devoted himself to solving problems that 9 decades later we still haven't fully solved. The housing shortage in New York City is real. It is serious, and the work is not done. The Federal Trade Commission has accused Macy's of seeking what it calls unfair advertising advantages. Specifically, the store chain is charged with pursuing arrangements that would effectively freeze out competitors from certain advertising channels. Macy's is disputing the charges. When the biggest retailer in the city gets into a fight with federal regulators, it tends to take a while to resolve. A tragic story from the Bronx. A father was killed yesterday in a leap from a burning building. He carried his 4-year-old daughter in his arms as he jumped. The child survived. The building fire left several families displaced. The father did what fathers do. He chose his child over himself. New York has its share of hard stories. This one sits with you. And the city is moving ahead with plans to address blight in Harlem. A 7-block area on the east side has been designated for renewal. New housing, improved services, a recognition that parts of this city have been neglected for too long. The details of urban renewal are always complicated, and the people who live in these neighborhoods have legitimate questions about what happens to them during and after. But the intent, at least, is right. Well, Jimmy Jackson is here to let every lady in America know that whatever's broken around the house and in your heart, he's got just the tools for the job. To the sports desk, and a few things worth your attention this Friday morning. The heavyweight championship rematch everybody in New York has been waiting for is one step closer. Ingemar Johansson. Ingo, the Swede with the right hand they call the Hammer of Thor, arrived in New York yesterday and begins his training camp upstate. The fight is June the 20th at the Polo Grounds. His opponent, Floyd Patterson, who lost his title to Johansson last June in one of the great upsets in boxing history. Ingo put Patterson down 7 times in the 3rd round before the referee stopped it. Patterson has been training with a ferocity that people who know him say they have never seen before. He reportedly told a trainer, "I have never hated anyone in my life. I hate Johansson." That from a man known for his gentleness outside the ring. The record books say no man has ever regained the heavyweight championship of the world. Patterson intends to be the first. And frankly, watching him train these last few weeks, I would not bet against him. In baseball, the White Sox beat the Washington Senators 5-3 yesterday, with Roy Sievers hitting a 2-run homer that proved decisive. Chicago continues to play solid ball in the early part of the season. The Cincinnati Reds won on a fly ball in the 8th, 4-3, over their opponent, with Vada Pinson stealing 2 bases and scoring the decisive run. Pinson, at 21 years old, may be the most exciting player in the National League that most New York fans haven't fully paid attention to yet. Keep your eye on him. And at Pimlico, Phaeton goes in as the favorite today, assigned 122 pounds. The racing calendar is filling up as we approach the Triple Crown season. After Needles won the Derby last month, the Preakness is next. And the whole question of who runs in and who sits out continues to preoccupy the horse racing world. Bryan Highland just spotted something at the beach that's got the whole boardwalk talking. And fellas, you're gonna want to hear this.
She was afraid to come out of the changing room. She was afraid to come out of the changing room. She was afraid to come out of the changing room. And I wonder what she's gonna do. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Red striped summer dress. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Red striped summer dress. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Oh, red striped summer dress. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Oh, she wore it to the beach today. She walked out and everybody turned to look. She walked out and everybody turned to look. She walked out and everybody turned to look, like a page from a picture book. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Oh, red striped summer dress. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Oh, oh. From the locker, 1, 2, 3. To the water, 1, 2, 3. Back to the towel, 1, 2, 3. She's the prettiest thing that I ever did see. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Oh, red striped summer dress. Teeny tiny little red striped summer dress. Oh, she wore it to the beach today.
Some light affair to close the news, because even on a Friday morning with a spy plane down and a summit in jeopardy, life goes on in this city, and it goes on beautifully. The New York Aquarium has a new attraction that will stop you cold. They've brought in a stonefish, a native of the South Pacific. And if you haven't seen one, let me describe it to you. This is a fish that looks exactly like a rock. It sits on the ocean floor and is so convincingly inert that you would walk right past it. It is also the most venomous fish in the world. Its dorsal spines can inject a toxin that is genuinely lethal to humans. The aquarium is calling it the chameleon of the South Pacific. I am calling it proof that nature has a sense of humor and that humor has teeth. The recorder group gave a concert this week. Recorders, those wooden instruments that look like a flute and have been around since the Renaissance, performing early music in the kind of intimate setting that reminds you New York has a musical life that goes far beyond Carnegie Hall and Broadway. It was, by all accounts, quietly lovely. The book review this morning looks at a collection of local literary interest, fiction and poetry emerging from New York writers who are doing something new with the American voice. The Times calls it of local origin and national significance. There is always something stirring in this city on the page. Always. For those of you heading out this weekend, the Tulip Festival is underway in Flushing Meadows. If you have children, this is exactly where you should be on Saturday. The park is blooming. New York in May, when it decides to be beautiful, is as beautiful as anything in this world. And tonight, for those of you who still dress up on a Friday, a benefit dance for the Boys Club at the Plaza Hotel. A fashion show precedes the dancing. The Plaza on a May evening with music. Some things about this city have not changed, and God willing, never will. Emilio Meridiani is bringing a little piece of the Italian countryside straight into your heart tonight. And trust me, folks, you don't need to speak a word of Italian to feel every single note.
Oltre il mare, oltre il cielo, there's a place where love is real. Beyond the clouds, beyond the feeling, only you know what I feel.
Like a river finds the ocean, like the moonlight finds the sea. Every breath I take is calling, calling you back home to me.
Al di là, al di là, far beyond the stars above. Al di là, there is nothing else but love. Every mountain, every valley, every road that leads me far only brings me back to you, love, my forever. Where you are. Oltre il tempo, oltre il vento, through the years and through the rain, every sunrise, every sunset brings me back to you again. Al di là, al di là, far beyond
A brief note from the business desk. The stock market, despite the international tension over the U-2 incident, has shown resilience this week. Defense stocks have moved, as they always do when the news from overseas gets complicated. There is a grim calculus in markets. Bad news for peace is often good news for certain portfolios. Whether that should make us comfortable or uncomfortable is a question worth sitting with. Stay right there. The phones are lighting up for this brand new tearjerker that's climbing every chart. The Beverly Brothers.
Bye-bye, dear. Bye-bye, happiness. Hello, loneliness. I think I'm gonna cry. Bye-bye, dear. Bye-bye, tender touch. Hello, emptiness. I feel like I could die. Bye-bye, my love. Dear fire. There goes my girl with a brand new bow. She sure looks smiling, I sure am low. She was my sweetheart till he came by. Goodbye to the dreams that could have been. Bye-bye, dear. Bye-bye, happiness. Hello, loneliness. I think I'm gonna cry. Bye-bye, dear. Bye-bye, tender touch. Hello, emptiness. I feel like I could die. Bye-bye, my love. Goodbye. I'm through with courting. I'm through with love. I'm through with counting the stars above. And here's the reason that I'm so free. My darling baby is through with me. Bye-bye, dear. Bye-bye, happiness. Hello, loneliness. I think I'm gonna cry. Bye-bye, dear. Bye-bye, tender touch. Hello, emptiness. I feel like I could die. Bye-bye, my love. Goodbye. Bye-bye, my love. Goodbye.
And now, Chubby Checkmate is about to start a dance craze that's gonna sweep every living room, ballroom, and street corner in America. Somebody warn your parents.
Come on, baby, let's do the shake. Come on, baby, let's do the shake. Take your feet and plant 'em on the floor. Move your hips like you never did before. Shake it low and then you shake it high.
We close every Friday on this program with something that reminds us that the world, even at its most alarming, is also fundamentally absurd. This week's candidate, a bus crash in New Jersey, attributed by authorities to a wasp. That's right, a wasp. The driver of a New Jersey transit bus was stung, apparently by a wasp that had gotten inside the vehicle, lost control of the bus momentarily, and the resulting incident injured several passengers. Nobody was seriously hurt. The wasp escaped. The insurance paperwork for that claim I would genuinely like to read. Cause of accident, wasp. The wasp had no license, no insurance, and no remorse. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a lesson here about the difference between the crises we can anticipate and plan for, and the ones that just fly in through the window. Well, dig this fresh chart climber just dropped on the turntable. A brand new heartbreak rocker by those smooth-singing Beverly Brothers.
I don't need your love anymore. I don't need your sweetness, that's for sure. I die each time I hear that name. Here he comes, that Peggy's clown. I've gotta stay strong. You know a guy can't fall, for when he knows she's spinning tails, and he hears them all around, he's not a man at all. I don't need your love anymore. I don't need your sweetness, that's for sure. I die each time I hear that name. Here he comes, that Peggy's clown. When you see my eyes go wet, and you know it's real regret, don't you think it's kind of rough that you're messing me up so tough? Or don't you give a care? I don't need your love anymore. I don't need your sweetness, that's for sure. I die each time I hear that name. Here he comes, that Peggy's clown. That's Peggy's clown. That's Peggy's clown.
All right, it's been quite a morning. Let me close with a few thoughts. We are living right now in what I believe historians are going to look back on as one of the pivotal weeks of the Cold War. And we are living through it in real time, which means we do not have the luxury of knowing how it ends. All we have is the news as it comes in, and the need to think clearly about what it means. Here is what I keep coming back to. Last September, Nikita Khrushchev and Dwight Eisenhower sat together at Camp David. Two old men. Both of them had seen the worst of the 20th century in their different ways. And they talked, and they walked around the farm, and something happened. Not friendship, exactly. But recognition. A recognition that the world they were both running toward, if this arms race continued unchecked, was a world neither of them wanted. And then, on May the 1st, a plane went up into the sky over the Soviet Union, 70,000 feet, photographing missile sites, and it came down. And now we are here. I am not going to tell you the administration was wrong to try to gather intelligence. In a world where the other side has agents in your country, and you have agents in theirs, information is survival. I understand that. What I am going to say is that the timing, on the eve of a summit that represented the best chance in years to pull back from the brink, was, at the very minimum, catastrophically poor judgment. And the cover story, the weatherplane story, is going to collapse. When it does, the damage will be worse than if they had told the truth from the beginning. Eisenhower is a man I respect. He is careful. He is not reckless by nature. He spent his life in the military, and he knows what wars cost. When he says peace matters, I believe he means it. But somewhere in his administration, someone made a decision that has now put peace at risk. And we do not yet know who, or whether the president knew, or whether the CIA ran a program he could not control. These are the questions that matter this morning. Not just for the summit, not just for the election this fall, but for the broader question of what kind of country we are. Whether we tell the truth when the truth is difficult. Whether we take responsibility when our machinery goes wrong. John Kennedy is campaigning in West Virginia right now, talking about what it means to be a Catholic running for president, trying to prove that religion shouldn't disqualify a man from the highest office. Richard Nixon is waiting in the wings. Khrushchev is standing at a podium in Moscow, furious. Paris is 10 days away. And somewhere in all of that, the ordinary life of this city, the man who jumped from a burning building to save his daughter, the stonefish sitting on the ocean floor, pretending to be a rock, the tulips blooming in Flushing, is going on. It always goes on. That is what cities do. That is what people do. We keep going. I'm Frank Calloway. You've been listening to The Morning Pulse on WKNY, 1240 on your AM dial. Have a good Friday. Watch the news this weekend. Things may move fast. We'll be here Monday morning at 7.